Hello everyone. Please note that this is a NotebookLM video presentation. Thank you NotebookLM. Hope you find it useful.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a really fascinating paper that suggests there's a deep secret emerging inside our most advanced AI systems. A secret that it turns out they might all be learning to share. Okay, so let's just dive right into this. We're starting with a strange phenomenon that researchers have been noticing. It seems that different AIs, even ones built for completely different purposes, are somehow starting to think alike. Their internal models of the world, they're becoming more and more similar. I mean, on the surface, this just shouldn't be happening, right? Think about it for a second. A vision model learns by crunching billions of pixels from images. A large language model learns by reading billions of words from text. They're learning from different data, using different methods. Their internal brains should be totally alien to each other. And yet, scientists are finding this surprising, deep connection between them. To get our heads around this AI mystery, we actually have to go way back. Like over 2,400 years back, to an idea from the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. All right, so the core idea here has a bit of a mouthful of a name, the platonic representation hypothesis. But stick with me, because the concept itself is, well, it's pretty profound. It suggests that all these different AIs, no matter what they're trained on, images, text, whatever, are all gradually building the very same fundamental understanding of the world. So, where does Plato fit into all this? You've probably heard of his famous allegory of the cave, right? Prisoners are chained up, and all they can ever see are these shadows dancing on a wall. For them, those shadows are reality. Well, for an AI, its training data, all those pixels and words, they're basically the same thing. They're just flat, incomplete shadows of the real world. But here's the kicker. Outside the cave is the real world, the world that's actually casting those shadows. Plato called these true forms. And what this hypothesis is saying is that as AIs get bigger and smarter, they're not just getting better at recognizing the shadows. No, they're starting to reverse engineer the true forms themselves. They're figuring out the underlying structure of reality that creates the data in the first place.
I know. It's a pretty mind-bending idea. So is there any actual evidence for this? Or is it just a cool theory?
Well, it kind of boils down to a concept you might actually recognize from literature, believe it or not. The paper borrows this idea from Tolstoy's Anna Karenina principle. The AI version goes something like this. It seems there are a million ways for an AI to be bad at its job, but maybe, just maybe, there's only one way to be really, really good.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because we have the data to back this up. Researchers took a look at 78 different vision models, and what they found was crystal clear. The better a model is at its job, the more its internal worldview starts to look exactly like other top-performing models. You can see it right here. The weak models are all over the map, but the strong ones, they're all clustering together. So the key takeaway here is that competence seems to breed similarity. They go hand in hand. And this isn't just a thing for vision models. This is the crazy part. The same pattern is showing up across totally different types of data, text, images, you name it. The better a language model gets at reading, the more its internal map of the world starts to look like the one inside a top-tier vision model that sees.
Okay, so if this convergence is really happening, the big question is, why? What's actually pushing them all in the same direction? Well, the paper points to three really powerful forces at play.
You can almost think of these like selective pressures in evolution. First, the more different tasks we ask a model to solve, the fewer good internal structures can actually do it all. Second, as these models get absolutely massive, they just have more brain power to find that one optimal structure. And third, neural nets just have this built-in preference for finding the simplest solution that works. You put all that together, and it's like a funnel, forcing them all toward the same endpoint. So if they're all converging on one single thing, what is that thing? What does it look like? Well, all the evidence seems to point to one answer. It's a statistical map of reality itself. Let's break this down with a really simple example. Color. For us humans, we don't just see a random jumble of colors. We instinctively organize them. We know that red smoothly blends into orange, which flows into yellow. Blue and green feel like neighbors. There's a logic to it, a structure. Okay, now check this out. Researchers took a vision model and trained it on one thing and one thing only: how often different colored pixels show up next to each other in millions of photos. It just learned that, hey, blue pixels are often next to green ones and yellow is often near red. From nothing but that raw statistical data, it built its own map of color. And guess what? It's almost identical to how we humans perceive it.
And this slide, this is where it all clicks into place. They did the same thing with a language model. A model with no eyes that has never seen a single color in its life. It was only trained on text. It learned that we say things like blue sky and green grass. And just from the statistics of how we talk about color, it independently discovered the exact same underlying structure: vision, language, human brains. All three, totally separate paths, all converged on the same fundamental truth about color. So this convergence thing, it's way more than just a cool academic finding. It has some really profound and honestly very practical implications for where AI is headed.
So what does this actually mean for us right now? Well, for one, it means if you want to build an AI that can see better, you should have it read a bunch of books. It also suggests a path toward AI that is truly grounded in reality, where the word dog isn't just a token, but it's connected to the same concept a vision model has for a dog. And on a practical level, it explains why things like image to text are getting so good so fast. Deep down, it turns out the models are basically speaking the same internal language already.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending question to chew on. This shared map of reality, it's being built from statistical patterns across way more data than any single human could ever process in 1,000 lifetimes. So if all of our most powerful minds, both the ones made of silicon and the ones made of carbon, are all starting to converge on a single unified picture of the world, what new things about reality are they going to see that we can't?